So was this a failure or was it just misunderstood? Welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. I'm your go-to for all things beauty and skincare. I haven't had any work done to my face, so you're getting real skin over 50. I'm age 51 for reference. Something big just happened in the beauty world. It involves two of TikTok's most trusted insiders, a brand launch that was supposed to change everything in the beauty industry, but instead sparked major backlash. Today, we're going to break down the leaked labs controversy, who the founders are, what actually happened, and why the internet basically turned on them almost overnight. First, let's talk about the people behind all this. The brand was created by Alexis and Christina, better known as the Lipstick Lesbians. And they're not your typical influencers. Alexis is a former product developer and beauty insider, versus Christina has a PhD in education and I think some kind of teaching background. Together, they built a platform predominantly on TikTok, but they're all over the place, on talking about how products and formulations actually work, really educating people and giving great tips and tricks on beauty application, beauty insider information. You could often see going through Sephora or Ulta and really testing products on their skin, explaining how they work, and making sure us as consumers were very educated about it. I really like that approach, and so did many others. I really think they saw their fame rise in the early 2020s, where they were talking about ingredients, formulas, industry secrets, and this just exploded them on TikTok. And from my point of view, what really made them different, they positioned themselves as truth tellers in a typically very marketing heavy laden industry. It was that kind of concept of education first that really appealed to people. And I think that is what built a lot of trust between their following and themselves. Now here's where things got interesting. Now they had owned a company before, but they clearly had their sights set on doing something new and innovative in the beauty space when it comes to some kind of brand launch. And I think what I heard them say is that after attending global beauty events and trade shows and being constantly in the beauty space, they found something really frustrating, and that was that very innovative products were just never being brought to the market. So basically, innovation was being created but not being launched. Now, I think the reason for that is there's a lot of risk associated with innovative products. Are they going to work? Are people going to like it? Is it too outside the box? On top of that, retail pressure, sometimes long development that can last up to years to bring a product from its first creative phase into actual development. So I think what they asked themselves was, what if consumers could try these products before brands approve them? And that is how Leaked Labs was born. The concept of Leaked Labs is kind of like an open source beauty brand. Products are released as leaks. They're lab stage formulas sold in limited quantities. Customers test them first and give feedback. The idea is to cut out the traditional system and let consumers shape the final product. But we're going to come back to this. So their first launch was a flexible powder. Innovative? Yes. Weird? Yes. Crazy and catching people's attention? Definitely yes. This is a pigment disc that can be applied dry, but also, for much better payoff, requires water activation. It can be used on the eyes, lips, and cheeks. Super innovative, very experimental, and pretty much everything that their communication and marketing had promised this launch to be. But this is where things start to unravel. At first, people were excited, myself included. When I saw that they were launching a brand, I shared it to my stories. I was super excited. This is already people I trusted, I followed, I loved their beauty recommendations. I was very interested to see how this was going to go. People were very quick to buy the products, and in fact, they sold out almost immediately. But as soon as people started receiving those products, the online tone shifted. The main criticisms about this launch weren't just for the product itself. It was actually probably even more so around the marketing and communication that the Lipstick Lesbians did to promote Leaked Labs. Many people felt like they were paying to be part of a focus group, and that seemed to be reinforced by the communication and marketing, that yes, in fact, that was what you get to do. The problem is, typically, other brands and how the traditional system that they really wanted to break works is that the brand owns that risk, cost, and actually pays people to be part of focus groups. So this was really turning that upside down, and in the consumer's eyes, not in their favor. When it comes to the cost, it was another area of contention. The cost for this product was $34 USD plus shipping, so around $40, most people said. 4 shades, and in their words, lab samples. Like literally how the lab sends out its samples. So not pretty packaging, not kind of properly packaged, and very small in quantity. So most people felt that was an incredible amount of money to spend on that. But that being said, if the product's worth it, then maybe the reviews could have been that even though it's a little high end, it's totally worth it because this product performs amazingly on my skin. But that also didn't happen. People were questioning, was the product practical? It didn't seem realistic to be spraying water to get a big color payoff and then applying it with fingers or using the product itself, which was ripping in some cases, going on patchy. Dry swatches were barely there and hardly visible. And makeup artists were saying, well, if they were to use alcohol in this product, it really broke it down and caused degradation in the product. So that renders this basically unusable for makeup artists who need to hygienically clean their makeup in between uses. And other people just found it overall very confusing to use, stating things like this just would have been easier if it was actually powder in a pan or if it was in some kind of eyeliner tube. And this led to more people saying this isn't really innovative, it's actually a bit more gimmicky. The only thing that was really innovative about it being flexible, which was supposed to solve the problem that apparently many people have, although some people say it's not really that big of a problem, is their eyeshadow breaking. This flexible structure would never break. But yet even in Leak Lab's own words, it does rip. So rip versus break, I'm not sure what the difference is. And then there's also this idea that even in the marketing and communication of this launch, Alexis and Christina were stating that loads of other brands passed on this product, but not us. We're bringing this to you because it's so innovative. Had people questioning, well, I kind of agree with the other brands who passed on it. Clearly it wasn't ready or of a quality to be brought to market. And this is where the confusion about the whole brand begins, because in their own words, they say that's right. It might not be in its end state because we're going to gather feedback from you using it, and perhaps we're going to iterate it further and make improvements on it and then come out with something even better. But this left people thinking, well, then what does that mean for me that I paid $34 for this product that isn't the end result, is not very good, and then I just have to buy something else all over again once you improve upon it? It just boils down to that it seems like they were prioritizing innovation over the cost of common sense. So with all of these online reviews and videos of people testing, Leak Labs started to receive organically lots of feedback, and it wasn't good. This is how things really escalated because the Lipstick Lesbians decided to do a sort of State of the Union address that just came across a little bit too defensive. We value all your feedback, yet the feedback you're giving us isn't right. Defending the product, defending their approach, defending the launch, versus the educational, communicative content that we have been used to them from the past. It would have been nice for them to really clear up exactly what this brand stands for, exactly what they're looking for, why they're charging people to be part of a focus group. Not charging people, but you know what I mean. People paying for the product versus getting paid to give consumer feedback on the product. I think it was the real opportunity to set the record straight, and it fell quite short because the online backlash was again swift and not kind. Many viewers felt that video came across dismissive, defensive, and overall condescending. And since that video didn't go over well, they had to do another video, which was more of an apology video. This State of the Union video I'm talking about was very polished, looked very marketed and I guess on brand, versus the apology video was a typical influencer apology video where they're actually sitting at the airport in relaxed clothing, messy buns, and talking real to the camera. But unfortunately, the comments on that video have not been any better. This controversy hit harder in the beauty community, with some saying this is the worst beauty influencer launch ever. Those are harsh words because there have been a lot of other influencer beauty launches that did not go well. But in my opinion, here's why. They had a bit of a trust gap. Their online presence was all about transparency and education, so expectations of a beauty launch from someone like that is already going to be really high. And then when people felt confused and actually talked down to, it just hit really different. When it comes to the idea of Leaked Labs, the idea itself is very innovative. We're talking real-time product development and customer-driven innovation. That in itself is a good thing. But The execution of this was just very unclear to the customer, and it made it feel like they were losing out on every turn. And really, how is this different than what other brands do, other than the fact that other brands will pay people to be a part of their research? I mean, even myself, I've been sent things pre-launch from a brand. Kind of like these, they're not packaged in the final state, they just want me to use the product and give my feedback back to them, but I'm getting the product for free. They're not asking me to pay for the product to give that feedback. And then brands will tweak and adjust the formulation, and that happens too with the big brands. Sometimes they launch something and they get feedback, say a grainy lip gloss, and then they have to alter the formulation so that they can improve upon it. So it does happen to the big guys too. When it comes to beauty community culture, the beauty community definitely loves innovation. Remember when the jelly lip tints came out? It's like, oh my gosh, what are these? They're going to be fun to use. But it also expects clarity, visibility, and value. And when those don't align, backlash happens fast. So was this a failure, or was it just misunderstood? Honestly, in my opinion, I do think it's a little bit of both. The concept could have been really innovative. The rollout was definitely confusing. And unfortunately, the communication after the fact just amplified the backlash. But at the end of the day, it could be a turning point for how beauty products are developed. I've seen some of the comments in some of their videos with some alternatives and really nice ideas, one of which was using this as a beauty box subscription idea. So if I sign up for the beauty box, I'm gonna get lab samples of products that I'm gonna test and try out, give my feedback to them. They're gonna use all that information to iterate the products, improve them, potentially launch them, or shelve them if they're not gonna be any good. The kicker with that is the price point. I can't be paying $40 for 3 little samples, but maybe I'd pay $40 for a box full of samples. I don't know, just something to think about. At the end of the day, I think all eyes are going to be on the next launch, and this product better be fire, or I'm afraid this brand isn't going to make it. They said that they're going to be launching products every 6 to 8 weeks, I think they had said at one point. So we should be about due for the next product launch soon, and I'm sure they know how important this one's going to be. I want to know what you think. Are you willing to pay for a product to try and test it out before it's actually launched? Or does this cross the line for you? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't seen these videos yet, be sure to watch them next. Thanks as always for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous day.